5 tutorials on the best artistic techniques. Oil painting, acrylics, watercolor, pastel, and drawing techniques. Embark on a comprehensive artistic journey with this collection, designed to unlock your creative potential across a spectrum of painting mediums. This complete work comprises 5 meticulously crafted tutorials, each dedicated to mastering a specific artistic technique. Whether you're a seasoned artist looking to refine your skills, or a beginner eager to explore the world of paint, these guides offer a structured and engaging approach to learning. Prepare to delve into the rich textures and luminous depths of oil painting, the vibrant versatility of acrylics, and discover new avenues for artistic expression through watercolor, pastel, and drawing techniques. A comprehensive guide to oil painting techniques. Oil painting is a timeless art form that has captivated artists and audiences for centuries. From the luminous works of the Renaissance masters to the emotive brushstrokes of the Impressionists, oil painting remains a versatile and expressive medium that allows artists to bring their visions to life. Its richness, durability, and ability to layer colors with subtle variations make it one of the most favored methods of painting. For those new to the world of oil painting or looking to refine their skills, this guide will provide a comprehensive overview of essential techniques, tools, and tips to help you master this beautiful art form. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced artist seeking advanced techniques, the principles outlined here will serve as a solid foundation for your creative journey. Why oil painting? Oil paints are revered for their versatility and vibrant color range. They offer a slow drying time, allowing for intricate blending and layering. This characteristic enables artists to work at their own pace, revisiting areas of their artwork to adjust colors, add details, or create depth. Moreover, the finished result boasts a rich texture and a luminosity that is simply unparalleled by other mediums. Getting started. Tools and materials. Before diving into techniques, it's essential to have the right materials. Here's a list of supplies every oil painter should have. 1. Oil paints. A basic starter palette includes primary colors: red, blue, yellow, white, black, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. As you advance, you can expand your palette with secondary and tertiary colors. 2. Brushes. Invest in a variety of brushes in different shapes, round, flat, filbert, etc., and sizes to create versatile effects. Natural bristle brushes are great for thicker applications, while synthetic brushes work well for finer details. 3. Canvas or surface. Canvas is the most common surface for oil painting, but you can also use wood panels, acrylic boards, or even heavy paper. 4. Palette. A palette is used to mix your paints. A glass or wood palette is ideal, as it's easy to clean and provides ample space for blending colors. 5. Palette knife. Essential for mixing paints and creating textured strokes. 6. Mediums. Linseed oil, walnut oil, or specialized oil painting mediums can be added to your paint to make it more fluid and adjust its drying time. 7. Solvents. Odorless paint thinners or turpentine are necessary for cleaning brushes and thinning the paint. 8. Easel. A sturdy easel ensures your surface remains steady as you work. 9. Rags and paper towels to clean brushes and control paint application. Basic techniques to master. Once you have your materials, it's time to explore key oil painting techniques that serve as the building blocks for your artwork. 1. Underpainting. The underpainting technique lays the foundation for your artwork. Start by sketching the basic outlines of your subject, either with a pencil or thin paint. Then, apply a monochromatic layer, often in burnt sienna or umber, to establish the tonal values. This helps you set the composition and visualize the lights and darks before adding color. 2. Layering and fat over lean. When applying layers of paint, follow the fat over lean rule. This means that each successive layer should contain more oil, making it fatter than the layer beneath it. By doing this, you prevent the paint from cracking as it dries. Start with thinner, solvent-rich layers and gradually build up to thicker, more oil-rich applications. 3. Color mixing and blending. Oil paints are excellent for blending colors. Use your palette knife or brushes to mix colors on your palette. On the canvas, layer and blend tones to create smooth transitions, gradients, or soft edges. Blending works best when the paint is still wet. 4. Glazing. Glazing involves applying a thin, transparent layer of paint over a dried layer to adjust its tone or color. This technique creates depth and luminosity, allowing light to pass through multiple layers for a glowing effect. Use mediums to thin the paint for glazing. 5. Impasto. Impasto refers to applying paint thickly onto the canvas, creating a textured surface with visible brush or palette knife strokes. Artists like Van Gogh use this technique to convey emotion and movement. 6. Scumbling. Scumbling is a dry brush technique that involves lightly dragging a layer of opaque or semi-opaque paint over a dried layer, allowing parts of the underneath layer to show through. This is ideal for creating texture or softening edges. 7. Wet on wet. Alla prima. This technique involves painting wet paint directly onto wet paint without waiting for previous layers to dry. Alla prima, meaning at first attempt, is perfect for creating fresh and spontaneous artwork, as it requires you to work quickly. 8. Grisaille. Grisaille is a method of painting entirely in grayscale. This technique focuses on achieving realistic tonal values and is often used as a preliminary study before adding color. Tips for success. 1. Plan your composition. Begin with a clear vision of your subject and composition. Sketch your ideas on the canvas before applying paint. 2. Work from dark to light. In oil painting, it's common to start with darker tones and gradually add lighter highlights. This approach helps create depth and dimension. 3. Clean your brushes thoroughly. Use solvents to clean your brushes between colors and at the end of your session to maintain their longevity. 4. Be patient. Oil paint takes time to dry, so practice patience and allow layers to cure before applying new ones, unless working wet on wet. 5. Experiment. Don't be afraid to try new approaches or mix unconventional colors. Oil painting is a medium that thrives on creativity and exploration. 6. Ventilate your workspace. Many oil painting materials, such as solvents, emit fumes. Ensure your workspace is well ventilated for safety. Advanced techniques and concepts. Chiaroscuro. Play with strong contrasts between light and dark to create dramatic, three-dimensional effects, as seen in the works of Caravaggio and Rembrandt. Broken color. Use dabs of pure color applied side by side to let the viewer's eye mix the tones, a technique often employed by impressionist painters. Sgraffito. Scratch into the wet paint with tools or brushes to reveal layers beneath and create intricate textures. Final Thoughts. Oil painting is as much an art form as it is a journey of discovery. With practice, dedication, and an understanding of the fundamental techniques outlined in this guide, you can unlock your creative potential and produce works of art that stand the test of time. Remember, every master painter was once a beginner, so embrace the process, learn from your experiments, and, most importantly, enjoy the act of creating. The Complete Guide to Acrylic Painting. Unleash your inner artist. Acrylics are a versatile and forgiving medium, making them perfect for both beginners and experienced artists. Their fast-drying nature, vibrant colors, and ability to be used on a variety of surfaces have made them a staple in the art world. This guide will provide you with everything you need to know to get started, improve your skills, and explore the endless possibilities of acrylic painting. Getting started. Essential materials and setting up your workspace. Before diving into techniques, it's crucial to gather the right materials and create a workspace that fosters creativity. Acrylic paints. Student grade versus artist grade. Understand the difference. Student grade paints are more affordable, but typically contain less pigment and more filler, resulting in less vibrant colors and potentially quicker fading. Artist grade paints are more expensive but offer richer colors, greater light fastness, resistance to fading, and a smoother consistency. Pigment concentration. Check the label for pigment information and light fastness ratings. Higher pigment concentration and excellent light fastness are desirable for archival quality paintings. Opacity and transparency. Acrylics can be opaque, semi-opaque, or transparent. Opaque paints provide solid coverage, while transparent colors allow underlying layers to show through. Experiment with different opacities to achieve desired effects. Starter set recommendations. For beginners, a basic set of primary colors, red, yellow, blue, black, and white, is a good starting point. From there, you can expand your palette with secondary colors, orange, green, violet, and earth tones, burnt sienna, raw umber. Consider brands like Liquitex Basics, Student Grade, Golden Fluid Acrylics, Artist Grade, or Winsor, Newton Galeria, Intermediate. B. Brushes. Synthetic versus natural. Synthetic brushes are generally recommended for acrylics because they are durable and can withstand the harshness of the paint. Natural brushes, like sable, can be used, but they need more care and are better suited for other mediums. Shapes and sizes. A variety of shapes and sizes is essential. Consider the following. Round. Ideal for detail work, lines, and thin washes. Flat. Good for broad strokes, blending, and covering large areas. Filbert. A combination of round and flat, excellent for soft edges and blending. Angular. Useful for precise edges and filling corners. Fan. Creates textured effects and blending clouds. Brush care. Clean brushes immediately after use with soap and water. Reshape the bristles and store them horizontally or vertically with the bristles facing up to prevent damage. C. Surfaces. Canvas. Stretched canvas is a popular choice and comes in various sizes and textures. Primed canvases are ready to paint on. Canvas panels. A more affordable option than stretched canvas. Paper. Heavyweight watercolor paper or acrylic paper is suitable for practice and experimenting. Wood. Wooden panels offer a smooth, rigid surface. Other surfaces. Acrylics can adhere to many surfaces, including metal, plastic, and fabric, with proper preparation. Experiment to discover new possibilities. D. Mediums. Acrylic mediums alter the properties of acrylic paint in different ways. Acrylic gloss medium. Increases the gloss of the paint, good for sealing artworks. Acrylic matte medium. Reduces the gloss of the paint and creates a matte finish. Acrylic retarder. Slows down the drying time of the paint, allowing for more blending and manipulation. Acrylic flow improver. Reduces the surface tension of the paint, making it flow more easily and preventing brush strokes from showing. Gel mediums. Thickens the paint for impasto techniques and creating textural effects. E-palette. Disposable palette. Waxed paper plates or palette pads are convenient for easy cleanup. Wet palette. A wet palette keeps acrylics from drying out too quickly, allowing for longer working time. You can buy a commercial wet palette or create your own using a damp sponge and parchment paper. F. Other essential supplies. Water container for rinsing brushes. Palette knife for mixing paint and applying it to the canvas. Easel. Provides a comfortable and stable working surface. Masking tape for creating clean edges and masking off areas. Rags or paper towels for cleaning brushes and wiping up spills. Apron or smock to protect your clothing. Graphite pencils. Erasers for sketching your designs and creating preliminary drawings. G. Setting up your workspace. Good lighting. Natural light is ideal, but artificial light can be used to supplement or replace it. Ventilation. Acrylic paints can release fumes, so ensure adequate ventilation in your workspace. Organization. Keep your supplies organized and within easy reach. Surface protection. Protect your work surface with a drop cloth or newspaper. 2. Core techniques of acrylic painting. Mastering these techniques will provide a solid foundation for exploring more advanced approaches. A. Basic brush strokes. Flat wash. Applying a thin, even layer of paint over a large area. Use a large, flat brush and apply the paint in even strokes, overlapping each stroke slightly. Dry brushing. Using a nearly dry brush with a small amount of paint to create a textured effect. Drag the brush lightly across the surface, allowing the texture of the canvas to show through. Scumbling. Applying small broken strokes of paint over a dried layer to create texture and depth. Stippling. Applying small dots of paint to create texture and value. Blending. Blending two or more colors together smoothly. Use a clean, damp brush to soften the edges of the colors. B. Color mixing and theory. Primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. These colors cannot be created by mixing other colors. Secondary colors: orange, green, and violet, created by mixing two primary colors. Tertiary colors: created by mixing a primary color with a neighboring secondary color, e.g., red-orange, blue-green. Color wheel: a visual representation of color relationships, helping you understand color harmonies and contrasts. Value: the lightness or darkness of a color. Hue: the pure color, e.g., red, blue, green. Saturation: the intensity or purity of a color. Complementary colors: colors opposite each other on the color wheel, e.g., red and green, blue and orange. They create strong contrast when placed next to each other. Analogous colors: colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, e.g., blue, blue, green, green. They create harmonious and calming color schemes. C. Underpainting. Purpose: creating a foundation layer that establishes the overall values and composition of the painting. Techniques: monochromatic underpainting, using a single color, such as burnt umber or raw sienna, diluted with water or medium. Grisaille: using shades of gray to create a detailed underpainting. Color underpainting: using complementary colors to create vibrant effects. Benefits: helps establish values, create depth, and unify the painting. D. Layering. Purpose: building up colors and values in successive layers to create depth, dimension, and complexity. Techniques: glazing, applying thin, transparent layers of paint over dried layers to modify and enhance the colors. Impasto, applying thick layers of paint to create texture and dimension. Dry brushing, using a dry brush to apply a thin layer of paint over a dried layer, creating a textured effect. Fat over lean. This principle suggests that each subsequent layer of paint should contain more oil, or in the case of acrylics, more medium, than the previous layer. This helps prevent cracking and ensures the paint layers adhere properly. E. Blending techniques. Wet, on, wet blending. Blending colors while they are still wet. This creates soft, smooth transitions. Dry blending. Blending colors after they have dried. Use a soft brush to gently blend the edges of the colors. Glazing, applying thin, transparent layers of paint over dried layers to create subtle blends. F. Creating texture. Impasto, applying thick layers of paint with a brush or palette knife. Adding mediums, using gel mediums to create texture. Stippling, applying small dots of paint with a brush. Spattering, flicking paint onto the canvas with a brush. Using found objects, incorporating found objects into your painting to create unique textures. 3. Advanced techniques and concepts. Once you've mastered the basics, you can explore these techniques to elevate your work. A. Color theory in depth. Color harmonies. Understanding different color harmonies, e.g., complementary, analogous, triadic, to create visually appealing and balanced color schemes. Color temperature, using warm and cool colors to create depth and mood. Local color versus perceived color. Understanding the difference between the actual color of an object and how it appears under different lighting conditions. B. Composition. Rule of thirds, dividing the canvas into 9 equal parts and placing key elements along the lines or at the intersections. Leading lines, using lines to guide the viewer's eye through the painting. Focal point, creating a clear focal point to draw the viewer's attention. Balance, creating a sense of visual balance in the painting, Negative space. Using negative space to create emphasis and balance. C. Value and contrast. Chiaroscuro. Using strong contrasts between light and dark to create drama and depth. Tonal value studies. Creating value studies to plan out the values in your painting. Controlling value. Using value to create depth, form, and mood. D. Abstraction. Exploring non-representational painting techniques. Abstract expressionism. Focus on expressing emotions and ideas through abstract forms and colors. Geometric abstraction. Using geometric shapes and patterns to create abstract compositions. Working from reality. Using realistic subjects as a starting point and gradually abstracting them. E. Mixed media. Combining acrylics with other materials. Collage. Incorporating paper, fabric, and other materials into your painting. Drawing. Combining acrylics with charcoal, pastels, or colored pencils. Textile art. Combining acrylics with fabrics and fibers. 4. Best practices and tips for success practice. Regularly. The more you paint, the better you will become. Experiment. Don't be afraid to try new techniques and materials. Study the masters. Learn from the work of other artists who inspire you. Take classes or workshops. Learn from experienced instructors and connect with other artists. Get feedback. Share your work with others and ask for constructive criticism. Document your process. Keep a sketchbook or journal to track your progress and ideas. Be patient. Learning to paint takes time and effort. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Have fun. Enjoy the process of creating art. 1.6. Conclusion. Acrylic painting is a rewarding and versatile art form. By understanding the materials, mastering the techniques, and practicing regularly, you can unlock your creative potential and create beautiful and expressive artwork. Don't be afraid to experiment, explore, and find your own unique style. Happy painting. Watercolors, a complete guide. Watercolor, with its luminous washes and delicate textures, is a captivating medium beloved by artists for centuries. This guide aims to equip both beginners and experienced artists with the knowledge and techniques necessary to unlock the full potential of watercolor painting. We will explore essential materials, foundational techniques, advanced methods, and best practices to help you create stunning watercolor artwork. Part 1. Essential materials. Building your watercolor arsenal. The quality of your materials plays a significant role in the success and enjoyment of your watercolor journey. Choosing wisely will save you frustration and allow you to fully express your artistic vision. 1.1 Paints. A symphony of pigments. Types of watercolor paints. Tubes. Highly concentrated, allowing for greater control over consistency and color mixing. Ideal for artists who require a wide range of custom hues. Typically more expensive up front, but often more economical in the long run due to longevity. Pans. Half pans. Convenient and portable, pre-filled with dried paint. Excellent for sketching outdoors or for beginners exploring the medium. Can be re-wetted and reactivated with water. Liquid watercolors. Intense, vibrant colors that are easily diluted. Often used for large washes, illustrations, and mixed media applications. Can stain easily, so caution is advised. Pigment quality. Student versus artist grade. Student grade. More affordable, often containing fillers and less pigment. Colors may be less vibrant and fade more quickly. Good for beginners practicing techniques but not for archival work. Artist grade. Higher concentration of pure pigments, resulting in richer colors, superior light fastness, resistance to fading, and better mixing properties. A worthwhile investment for serious artists. Key pigment characteristics. Transparency. The degree to which light passes through the paint, allowing underlying layers to show through. Ideal for glazing and creating luminous effects. Opacity. The degree to which the paint obscures underlying layers. Can be used for highlights and creating a solid, opaque effect. Granulation. The tendency of certain pigments to separate and create a textured speckled appearance on the paper, can add visual interest and depth. Staining, the degree to which the pigment permanently adheres to the paper. Staining colors are more difficult to lift and correct, but offer excellent permanence. Recommended colors for a starter palette: warm yellow, cadmium yellow light, medium, Hansa yellow cool yellow, lemon yellow, warm red, cadmium red light, medium cool red, alizarin crimson, permanent alternative, quinacridone rose, warm blue, ultramarine blue, cool blue, phthalo blue, green shade, earth tone, burnt sienna, optional, sap green, Payne's gray, 1.2 brushes, the extensions of your hand types of brush hairs, natural hair, sable, squirrel, ox. Excellent water retention, allowing for smooth, controlled washes. Softer, more expensive, and require careful cleaning. Synthetic hair, more affordable, durable, and easier to clean. Offer good control and are suitable for a wide range of techniques. Blended hair, combine natural and synthetic fibers for a balance of performance and affordability. Brush shapes and their uses: round, versatile, used for detail work, lines, washes, and lifting paint. Flat, ideal for broad washes, sharp edges, and creating geometric shapes. Angular, similar to flat brushes but with an angled tip, providing greater control for detail work and creating varied lines. Rigger, long, thin brush used for fine lines, details, and calligraphy. Mop, large, round brush used for covering large areas quickly and evenly. Recommended brush sizes: a small set of round brushes, sizes 0, 2, 6, 10, and a flat brush, 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, is a good starting point. 1.3 paper. The foundation of your painting paper weight, measured in pounds or grams per square meter GSM. Heavier paper, 140, 300 GSM or higher, is recommended for watercolor, as it resists buckling and warping when wet. Paper surface, hot press, smooth surface, ideal for detailed work, fine lines, and precise washes. Can be challenging for beginners, as the paint tends to sit on the surface. Cold press, slightly textured surface, offering a good balance between detail and texture. The most versatile and popular choice for watercolor painting. Rough, heavily textured surface, creating a granular effect and adding visual interest. Best suited for expressive and impressionistic styles. Paper composition: cotton, higher quality, more absorbent, and more resistant to buckling, allows for better color vibrancy and longevity. Wood pulp, more affordable but less absorbent and may yellow over time. Good for practice and sketching. Paper formats: sheets, individual sheets in various sizes, ideal for large paintings or specific projects. Pads, convenient for sketching and practicing, often glued on one side. Blocks, glued on all 4 sides, providing a stable surface and preventing buckling. 1.4 Other essential supplies. Palette, a surface for mixing paints. Can be a ceramic plate, a plastic palette with wells, or a butcher tray. Water containers, 2 containers, one for rinsing brushes and one for clean water. Masking fluid, a liquid rubber compound that protects areas of the paper from paint. Masking tape, used to create clean edges and borders. Pencils, HB or 2B, for sketching the initial composition. Eraser, for removing pencil lines. Paper towels or soft cloth, for blotting brushes and controlling water. Spray bottle, for re-wetting paints and controlling the moisture of the paper. Palette knife, for mixing paints and scraping away unwanted areas. Used sparingly. Easel, optional, provides a comfortable working angle. Part 2. Foundational techniques. Mastering the basics. These techniques form the foundation of watercolor painting. Mastering them will allow you to build confidence and explore more advanced methods. 2.1 Washes, creating smooth and even color fields. Flat wash, a uniform layer of color applied evenly across the paper. 1. Tilt the paper slightly. 2. Load your brush with a generous amount of diluted paint. 3. Apply a horizontal stroke across the top of the area you want to cover. 4. Immediately apply the next stroke, overlapping the previous one slightly. 5. Continue this process, maintaining a wet edge, until the entire area is filled. 6. Blot any excess water at the bottom edge to prevent backruns, blooms. Graded wash. A wash that gradually transitions from light to dark, or from one color to another. 1. Start with a fully saturated wash at the top. 2. With each subsequent stroke, gradually dilute the paint with more water. 3. Overlap the previous stroke slightly to create a smooth transition. Variegated wash. A wash that incorporates multiple colors, blending them together on the paper while wet. 1. Apply different colors side by side, allowing them to bleed into each other. 2. Tilt the paper to encourage the colors to mix and blend. 3. Use a clean, damp brush to soften the edges and create a seamless transition. 2.2 Wet on wet. Embracing the flow of water description. Applying wet paint to wet paper, allowing the colors to blend and diffuse freely. Application. 1. Wet the paper with clean water using a large brush or sponge. 2. Apply diluted watercolor paint to the wet surface. 3. Allow the colors to mingle and blend organically. Effects. Soft, dreamy effects, atmospheric landscapes, and abstract compositions. Tips. Control the amount of water on the paper to achieve the desired effect. Too much water can lead to uncontrolled blooms, while too little water can prevent the paint from blending properly. 2.3 Wet on dry. Precision and controlled description. Applying wet paint to dry paper, resulting in crisp edges and greater control over the placement of color. Application. 1. Apply diluted watercolor paint to dry paper. 2. The paint will remain where it is applied, creating defined shapes and lines. Effects. Sharp details, precise outlines, and controlled layering. Tips. Use a well-pointed brush for accurate details. Allow each layer to dry completely before applying the next. 2.4 Dry brush. Embracing texture description. Using a brush with very little water to create a broken textured effect. Application. 1. Blot the brush on a paper towel to remove excess water. 2. Drag the brush across the paper, allowing the bristles to skip over the surface. Effects. Rough textures, weathered surfaces, and realistic details. Tips. Use a stiff brush with slightly worn bristles for best results. Experiment with different angles and pressures to achieve varied textures. 2.5 Lifting. Correcting mistakes and creating highlights description. Removing paint from the paper using a clean, damp brush or sponge. Application. 1. Moisten the area you want to lift with clean water. 2. Gently blot the area with a clean, damp brush or sponge. 3. Repeat the process until the desired amount of paint is removed. Effects. Highlights, corrections, and softened edges. Tips. Lifting is most effective when the paint is still slightly damp. Staining colors are more difficult to lift than non-staining colors. 2.6 Layering, glazing. Building depth and luminosity description. Applying thin, transparent layers of paint over one another, allowing the underlying layers to show through. Application. 1. Allow each layer to dry completely before applying the next. 2. Use transparent colors to create luminous effects. 3. Apply successive layers to build depth and complexity. Effects. Rich colors, subtle transitions, and a sense of depth. Tips. Avoid overworking the layers, as this can result in muddy colors. Par 3. Advanced techniques. Expanding your artistic horizons. These techniques require more practice and control, but can add exciting dimensions to your work. 3.1 Masking. Protecting areas from paint masking fluid. Apply masking fluid to the areas you want to protect before painting. Allow the masking fluid to dry completely. Paint over the masked areas. Once the paint is dry, gently remove the masking fluid. Masking tape. Apply masking tape to create clean edges and borders. Press the tape firmly to the paper to prevent paint from seeping underneath. Paint along the edge of the tape. Once the paint is dry, carefully peel off the tape. 3.2 Salt Technique. Creating textural effects description. Sprinkling salt onto wet watercolor paint to absorb water and create unique textures. Application. 1. Apply a wet wash to the paper. 2. Sprinkle salt, coarse salt works best, onto the wet paint. 3. Allow the paint to dry completely. 4. Brush off the salt. Effects. Granular textures, snow effects, and abstract patterns. 3.3 Splattering. Adding energy and movement description. Flicking or tapping paint onto the paper to create a random, energetic effect. Application. 1. Load your brush with diluted paint. 2. Tap the brush against your finger or another brush to splatter the paint. 3. Control the size and density of the splatters by adjusting the amount of water in the paint and the force of the tap. Effects. Dynamic textures, abstract backgrounds, and a sense of movement. 3.4. Lifting with a sponge. Creating clouds and textures description. Using a damp sponge to lift paint from the paper, creating soft textures and cloud effects. Application. 1. Apply a wet wash to the paper. 2. Dab a damp sponge onto the wet paint to lift color. 3. Vary the pressure and angle of the sponge to create different textures. Effects. Soft clouds, atmospheric effects, and textured surfaces. 3.5 Watercolor pencils. Combining drawing and painting description. Using watercolor pencils to create detailed drawings that can be blended and softened with water. Application. 1. Draw your image with watercolor pencils. 2. Use a wet brush to blend and soften the pencil lines. 3. Layer colors to create depth and complexity. Effects. Detailed illustrations, expressive sketches, and unique textures. Part 4. Best practices. Cultivating a successful watercolor practice. Plan your painting. Start with a sketch to plan your composition and values. Test your colors. Before applying paint to your paper, test the colors on a scrap piece of paper to ensure you are satisfied with the hues and values. Work from light to dark. Begin with light washes and gradually build up to darker values. Use clean water. Dirty water can contaminate your colors and result in muddy mixtures. Control your water. Mastering water control is essential for successful watercolor painting. Experiment with different levels of dilution to achieve various effects. Let each layer dry completely. Before applying the next layer, allow the previous layer to dry completely to prevent colors from bleeding together. Embrace mistakes. Watercolor is a forgiving medium. Learn from your mistakes and don't be afraid to experiment. Practice regularly. The key to mastering watercolor is consistent practice. Set aside time each day or week to paint and develop your skills. Clean your brushes. Clean your brushes thoroughly after each painting session to prolong their lifespan. Protect your paintings. Store your finished paintings in a flat, acid-free portfolio or frame them behind UV-resistant glass to protect them from fading. Conclusion. Watercolor painting is a rewarding and challenging art form. By understanding the materials, mastering the techniques, and embracing the process, you can unlock your creative potential and create beautiful and expressive watercolor art. Remember to be patient, persistent, and most importantly, have fun. This guide provides a solid foundation for your watercolor journey. Continue to experiment, explore, and develop your unique style. Happy painting! The Artist's Compendium, a comprehensive guide to drawing. Welcome to the world of drawing. Whether you're a complete beginner or a seasoned creative looking to refine your skills, this guide is designed to provide a clear roadmap for your artistic exploration. This compendium will cover essential materials, fundamental techniques, and best practices to help you unlock your artistic potential. Part 1. Essential materials. Investing in the right materials can significantly enhance your drawing experience and the quality of your work. Here's a breakdown of essential tools and supplies. Drawing pencils, graphite pencils, the workhorse of drawing, graded from hardest 9H to softest 9B. H series, hard. These pencils produce light, thin lines, ideal for sketching, architectural drawings, and technical illustrations. Higher numbers, e.g., 6H, 8H, are even harder and lighter. HB series. Medium. A good all-purpose pencil suitable for general drawing and writing. An HB or 2B is often recommended for beginners. B series. Soft. These pencils create darker, thicker lines and are excellent for shading and expressive drawing. Higher numbers, e.g., 6B, 8B, are softer and produce deeper blacks. They also smudge more easily. Mechanical pencils offer consistent line weight and eliminate the need for sharpening. They use graphite leads, available in various hardness grades. Charcoal pencils, made from compressed charcoal, offering deep blacks and a wide range of tones. Available in hard, medium, and soft grades. Colored pencils, wax-based or oil-based, providing vibrant colors and blending capabilities. Good quality colored pencils offer richer pigment and better light fastness. Conte crayons, compressed chalk available in black, white, sanguine, reddish-brown, and other colors. Excellent for creating textured drawings. Drawing surfaces, sketchbooks. Essential for practice, experimentation, and quick studies. Choose a sketchbook with paper that suits your chosen medium, e.g., smooth for graphite, textured for charcoal. Drawing paper, available in various weights, thickness, and surfaces. Smooth, textured, cold press, hot press. Smooth, hot press. Ideal for detailed drawings with graphite or pen and ink. Textured, cold press. Good for charcoal, pastel, and colored pencil, offering more tooth for the media to grip. Bristol board. A smooth, rigid surface suitable for detailed drawings and finished artwork. Available in smooth and vellum, slightly textured, surfaces. Watercolor paper can work for some pencil media, but is absorbent, so use it knowing blending will be different. Erasers. Kneaded eraser. Malleable eraser that can be shaped to erase specific areas or lift highlights. Ideal for charcoal and graphite. Pink eraser. General purpose eraser for removing graphite. Can be abrasive, so use with caution. White plastic eraser. Less abrasive than pink erasers, and ideal for removing graphite cleanly. Eraser pencil. A pencil-shaped eraser for precise erasing in small areas. Electric eraser. Provides more power but might damage the paper quickly. Sharpeners. Manual sharpener. A basic and reliable option. Electric sharpener. Convenient for sharpening multiple pencils quickly. Craft knife. Razor blade. Used to sharpen pencils for a longer, finer point. Requires caution and practice. Blending tools. Blending stumps. Tortillons. Tightly rolled paper used to blend pencil, charcoal, or pastel. Chamois cloth. Soft leather cloth used for blending large areas. Cotton swabs. Useful for blending small, precise areas. Your fingers. While convenient, use sparingly as the oils from your skin can affect the drawing. Other useful tools. Rulers and T-squares. For creating straight lines and accurate measurements. Compass. For drawing circles and arcs. Set squares, triangles. For drawing angles. Blending palette. For mixing colored pencil pigments. Drawing board. Provides a stable, portable surface to work on, especially useful for larger drawings. Easel. Optional, but can improve posture and provide a better viewing angle. Fixative spray. Protects finished drawings from smudging, especially charcoal and pastel. Part 2. Fundamental Drawing Techniques Mastering. These techniques will build a solid foundation for your drawing skills. Line work, contour drawing. Focuses on the outline of a subject, emphasizing the edges and shapes. Develops hand-eye coordination and observational skills. Blind contour drawing, without looking at the paper, is a great exercise. Gesture drawing captures the movement and essence of a subject quickly. Focus on the overall flow and energy, rather than precise details. Use loose, flowing lines. Cross-contour drawing uses lines that follow the contours of a subject's surface, giving a sense of volume and form. Imagine wrapping lines around the object. Hatching, creating tonal variations by drawing parallel lines. Closer lines create darker tones, while further apart creates lighter tones. Cross-hatching, layering hatching lines in different directions to create even darker tones and more complex shading. Value, tone. Shading, creating the illusion of light and shadow to define form and volume. Stippling, creating tonal variations by using dots. More dots create darker tones, fewer dots create lighter tones. Patient and time-consuming, but can produce impressive results. Blending, smoothing out tonal transitions to create a seamless effect. Chiaro-scuro, the use of strong contrasts between light and dark to create dramatic effects. Perspective, linear perspective, a system for representing three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. Includes 1-point, 2-point, and 3-point perspective. Essential for creating realistic and believable scenes. 1-point perspective, all lines converge on a single vanishing point on the horizon line. 2-point perspective, lines converge on two vanishing points on the horizon line. 3-point perspective, lines converge on three vanishing points, 2 on the horizon line and 1 above or below. Used for dramatic perspectives, such as looking up at a tall building. Atmospheric perspective, aerial perspective, creating the illusion of depth by using lighter values and less detail for objects in the distance. Composition, rule of thirds, dividing the drawing area into thirds both horizontally and vertically, and placing key elements at the intersections of these lines, creates a more balanced and visually appealing composition. Leading lines, using lines to guide the viewer's eye through the drawing. Focal point, the area of the drawing that the viewer's eye is drawn to first. Balance, distributing elements evenly throughout the drawing to create a sense of stability. Symmetry, a composition that is mirrored on either side of a central axis, can create a sense of formality and stability. Asymmetry, a composition that is not symmetrical, can create a sense of dynamism and interest. Part 3. Advanced drawing techniques. Once you've mastered the fundamentals, you can explore these more advanced techniques. Rendering, creating highly realistic and detailed drawings, focusing on accurate representation of light, shadow, texture, and form. Hatching variations, explore different ways of hatching, such as curved hatching, directional hatching, and contour hatching to follow the form of the object. Dry brushing involves using a dry brush to create a textured effect with charcoal or graphite. Sgraffito, scratching through a layer of dark material to reveal a lighter layer beneath. Photorealism, creating drawings that are virtually indistinguishable from photographs, requires exceptional skill and attention to detail. Mixed media, combining different drawing materials such as graphite, charcoal, colored pencil, and ink to create unique effects. Part 4. Best practices and tips. Practice regularly. Consistency is key to improving your drawing skills. Even short daily practice sessions can make a significant difference. Observe carefully. Pay close attention to the world around you. Study light, shadow, form, and texture. Sketch from life. Drawing from real-life objects and scenes is the best way to develop your observational skills and understanding of form. Use reference photos. Reference photos can be helpful, especially for complex subjects or when drawing from imagination, but don't rely on them exclusively. Try to draw from life as much as possible. Start simple. Begin with basic shapes and forms before adding details. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of the learning process. Don't be discouraged by them. Learn from them and keep practicing. Experiment with different materials and techniques. Find what works best for you and your artistic style. Seek feedback. Share your work with other artists and ask for constructive criticism. Study the masters. Look at the work of great artists throughout history and learn from their techniques and approaches. Be patient. Learning to draw takes time and effort. Don't expect to become a master overnight. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the journey. Understand light source. Knowing where the light source comes from helps significantly with the shading and form you are trying to represent. Conclusion: drawing is a rewarding and fulfilling skill that can bring joy and self-expression to your life. By understanding the materials, mastering the techniques, and practicing regularly, you can unlock your artistic potential and create beautiful and meaningful drawings. Remember to be patient, persistent, and most importantly, have fun. Find your inspiration and start drawing. Good luck. A comprehensive guide to pastel drawing techniques, materials, and best practices. Pastels, with their vibrant colors and velvety texture, offer a unique and rewarding artistic experience. This handbook provides a detailed exploration of pastel drawing techniques, the essential materials you'll need, and best practices to help you achieve stunning results. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced artist looking to expand your skills, this guide will equip you with the knowledge and confidence to master this beautiful medium. Understanding pastels. A world of color and texture. Before delving into techniques, it's crucial to understand the different types of pastels and how their characteristics influence your artwork. Soft pastels. These are the most common type of pastel, known for their rich pigmentation, smooth application, and blendability. They contain a high proportion of pigment and very little binder. Pros: intense colors, easy to blend, create soft and atmospheric effects. Cons: dusty, prone to smudging, require careful layering and fixing. Brands: Sinalia, Unison Color, Schminke, Rembrandt, Blick Artists. Soft pastels. Hard pastels. These pastels contain more binder, resulting in a firmer texture and sharper edges. Pros: ideal for detailed work, outlining, and underpainting, less dusty than soft pastels. Cons: less intense color compared to soft pastels, harder to blend. Brands: NuPastel, Faber, Castell Polychromos, Cretacolor Pastel Car. Pastel pencils. These offer the precision of a pencil with the characteristics of pastel. They are encased in wood, making them cleaner and easier to control for fine lines and details. Pros: excellent for detail work, sketching, and controlled layering. Cons: softer pastel pencils can break easily. Harder pencils may lack intense pigmentation. Brands: Faber, Castel Pit, Pastel Pencils, Caran d'Ache Pastel Pencils, Derwent Pastel Pencils. Oil pastels. Though technically not pastels in the strict sense, they share the format and are often used in mixed media. They utilize oil as a binder, creating a creamy, waxy texture. Pros: vibrant colors, waterproof, once dry, can be blended with solvents. Cons: do not blend like soft pastels, can be messy, require specialized techniques. Brands: Sennelier Oil Pastels, Holbein Oil Pastels, Van Gogh Oil Pastels. 2. Essential materials and resources. Success in pastel drawing hinges on having the right tools. Here's a comprehensive list. Pastels. A selection of soft, hard, and pastel pencils is recommended to offer versatility. Start with a smaller set and expand as your skill grows. Pastel paper. The surface you choose significantly impacts the look and feel of your artwork. Textured paper, e.g., Pastelmat, Canson Miteintes, Touch, Wallace sanded paper. Ideal for layering and allowing more pastel to adhere to the surface. They have slightly rough texture. Velour paper offers a soft, velvety surface that grabs pastel particles easily. Pastel boards. Rigid surfaces that hold pastel well and are suitable for larger works, e.g., Pastel board. Toned paper. A variety of colors can enhance the vibrancy of your pastels. Experiment with different tones to find what suits your style. Blending tools. Fingers. The most common blending tool, but used sparingly to avoid muddying colors. Consider wearing finger cots. Paper stumps. Tortillon. For controlled blending of small areas. Chamois cloth. For lifting pastel and creating soft, hazy effects. Blending brushes. Soft brushes for gentle blending. Fixative. A spray used to protect pastel drawings from smudging. Use sparingly and in a well-ventilated area, as multiple layers can darken the colors. Erasers. Kneaded eraser. Ideal for lifting pastel without damaging the paper. Plastic eraser. For more precise erasing. Eraser pencil. For detailed corrections. Sharpener. A good quality sharpener is essential for pastel pencils. Work surface. A clean, flat surface to protect your artwork and prevent smudging. Storage. A pastel box or container to keep your pastels organized and protected. Dust mask. Protects you from inhaling pastel dust, especially when working with soft pastels. Reference photos. High-quality reference photos are essential for creating realistic and accurate drawings. Tutorials and books. Utilize online tutorials and books to learn new techniques and improve your skills. Seek out artists whose work you admire and study their methods. Consider workshops and online classes. 3. Pastel drawing techniques. The artist's arsenal. Here are a range of techniques that will allow you to create diverse effects and styles. Hatching and cross-hatching. This involved using parallel lines, hatching, or intersecting lines, cross-hatching, to build up value and texture. Use harder pastels or pastel pencils for sharper lines. Vary the spacing and thickness of the lines to create different tonal values. Layering. Applying multiple layers of pastel to build up color, value, and depth. Start with lighter colors and gradually add darker ones. Fixative can be used between layers to prevent oversaturation of the paper. Blending. Smoothing the pastel across the surface to create soft transitions and atmospheric effects. Use your fingers, paper stumps, or blending brushes. Be careful not to overblend, as this can muddy the colors. Scumbling. Applying pastel in a loose, scribbled manner to create texture and visual interest. Use layers of contrasting colors to create depth. Feathering. Applying short, light strokes in a parallel direction to blend colors softly. Blend different colors together, or layer similar colors on top of each other. This technique creates textures and softens edges. Side stroke. Lay the pastel on its side to apply broad areas of color quickly. This technique is useful for backgrounds and large areas of tone. Can create soft, atmospheric effects. Pointillism. Applying small dots of color next to each other to create a textured surface. Underpainting. Creating a base layer of color before applying the pastel. This can be done with hard pastels, pastel pencils, or even watercolor. The underpainting can help unify the composition and create a sense of depth. Lifting. Using a kneaded eraser or chamois cloth to lift pastel from the surface, creating highlights or correcting mistakes. Sgraffito. Scratching through layers of pastel to reveal the underlying colors, creating lines and textures. Dry wash. Apply a thin layer of powdered pastel to the paper using a brush. This can create a soft atmospheric effect or be used as an underpainting. Impasto. Applying thick layers of pastel to create a textured, three-dimensional effect. Use soft pastels and build up the layers gradually. 4. Best practices for pastel drawing. Plan your composition. Before you start drawing, take the time to plan your composition. This will help you create a more balanced and visually appealing artwork. Warm up. Do some quick sketches or exercises to warm up your hand and eye before starting your main drawing. Start with a light sketch. Use a light-colored pastel pencil or charcoal to create a preliminary sketch of your subject. Work from light to dark. Build up the values gradually, starting with the lighter tones and working towards the darker ones. This will help you avoid overworking the drawing. Use fixative sparingly. Overuse of fixative can darken the colors and make it difficult to apply more pastel. Protect your work. When your drawing is finished, protect it with a sheet of glassine paper or fixative. Experiment and explore. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques and materials. The best way to learn is to practice and explore. Keep your work area clean. Pastel dust can be messy. Keep your work area clean to prevent smudging and contamination of your pastels. Take breaks. Stepping back from your work periodically allows you to see it with fresh eyes and identify areas that need improvement. Learn from other artists. Study the work of master pastel artists to learn new techniques and approaches. Practice regularly. The more you practice, the better you will become at pastel drawing. Troubleshooting common pastel drawing problems. Colors look muddy. Avoid overblending and mixing too many colors directly on the paper. Use layering to build up color gradually. Pastel, not adhering to the paper. Use a paper specifically designed for pastels or apply a primer to the surface. Paper becomes oversaturated. Use fixative between layers to prevent oversaturation. Consider using a heavier paper. Drawing looks flat. Create depth and dimension by using a full range of values and layering colors. Pastel dust is everywhere. Use a dust mask and a drop cloth to protect yourself and your work area. 6. Conclusion. The endless possibilities of pastel. Pastel drawing is a journey of discovery, offering endless possibilities for artistic expression. By understanding the materials, mastering the techniques, and practicing regularly, you can unlock the full potential of this vibrant and versatile medium. Embrace the process, experiment fearlessly, and enjoy the unique beauty of pastel art. Remember, the most important thing is to have fun and let your creativity flow. Good luck on your artistic journey.